Hello everyone. Again, welcome to day 2 of learning QGIS from scratch with me. Today we'll be picking up from where we left in the previous video. That is, even though in the previous video we just opened Google Earth and we were just trying to download Google Earth and the video ended there, but actually there was a lot more footage after that, but due to some technical difficulties that part got corrupted, so I couldn't put it in the previous video. So I'll be showing you those parts again, and after that we'll be continuing the rest of it. So here you can actually see there are two other layers that I've added in this file. That is one village one path and there's village one. So as what I was saying in the last video is that whenever anyone is doing a survey, like it can be a survey of any kind, as much as such. So we won't be going around the whole district. Like districts in India are just huge in size, so it'll be impossible for us to cover a district that are thousands of square kilometers in size, and there are forests also that large. So what we generally do is we just go to a few square kilometers of area, so we really just need to find that area in a map so that we can map it out properly. And well, the most efficient way to do that is Google Earth. So going back to Google Earth, so now many of you will be familiar with Google Earth. If you have just basically used Google Maps, it is more or less a hyper powered version of Google Maps. So in Google Earth, basically we'll be performing two main functions over here. That is how to pin a place that you want to find, and how to find a path around the place. These are like the two main functions we need to notice, because well, if you have ever done birding, we need to know which paths we have traveled on, so that we can locate the birds and we can pinpoint the birds. So these are like the main things that we need to know in the map. And obviously there are other things also. There's a polygon, there is different things that we can do in Google Earth apart from just pinpointing the location out. So okay, so now I'll be showing you how to just how to just drop a pin in a location. Simple thing is, if you go to Google Earth, this whole window opens up in Google Earth. Well, basically the window is just like, it just shows you the position of Earth overall. So this you will see the whole globe. You can see the whole globe in Google Earth. You can actually even zoom out even more. So you just keep zooming out. You can see the whole Earth. So now that point was actually a pin that I had placed previously. So introducing Google Earth a bit, we have got different layers. It is the same thing that we have seen in our QGIS, that layers are working, that we can see announcements here, we can see borders and labels. You can to say in simple words, you can just simply see things in Google Earth. Those are already preloaded. You really don't need to put efforts to see things. Like to see borders of different countries, you don't need to draw those borders. Those things are already available in Google Earth in the form of layers. So you see, I just tick this borders and labels off. All the borders have vanished from Google Earth. So I put it back again, and well, mostly it's just borders and labels also. So now going back to going over to the state of Assam, where we'll be actually conducting our survey. You can already see a single point here named village 1. This was a point that I had placed previously. So now zooming back on that one, I'll just click it over here, village 1. So for me to zoom in, so now you can see that there's this whole area that is selected. So just to show you guys, I'll be selecting this other patch of field over here. So now how to drop a point pin in a point, it's just a very simple thing. All you need to do is go to this top corner over here. If you follow my cursor over here, you can see that there's this yellow color pin that you can select the yellow color pin. This whole dialog box appears, and you can actually drag this pin and just drop it anywhere in Google Earth. And what this pin effectively does, it you place this pin and you can actually see on the inside the dialog box that the coordinates keep changing. So this pin is accurately marking the coordinates where you want to place the pin. So let's say that I just want to place the pin over here. So I've got 25 degrees north and 93 degrees east coordinate over here. So let me just name it as this village 2, just so that it is simple for me to remember 1 2. And if you can actually do a number of things with this pin. You can just change how the pin looks. So let me just put it into, I just want a red color pin, so I put a red color pin over there, and I just simply just type OK. And here I have a pin named village 2, so I can just zoom out anywhere. I just zoom out of the whole thing. And okay, like let's say I just just scroll this anywhere. So I need to find it back again, right? So simple thing, I just do a double click here. It travels the whole way back, and it's like it takes me to the exact point. So now thing is, I have it in Google Earth. How do I show it in GIS? Because well, GIS doesn't know the coordinates. All I found is this coordinates here. I need to find this in my map, which is in GIS. So I need to find where that particular position is in this map. So I know it's somewhere in the state of Assam. I know it is 25 degrees north and 98 degrees east, but I don't know what that is in this map, because well, they are using a particular coordinate system, and my mind doesn't use one. So going back, we need to export this data. So simple way to export this data is just right click on village 2, like since the name here is village 2, right click on it and just go to save place as, and make sure to save it as kmz or kml file. These are the only two options, but preferably kmz file because it just takes a lot less space. Okay, I named it as silage 2, by the way. So okay, it really doesn't matter, it's just village 2 right now. So I save it as silage 2, and I go back to GIS. So what I need to do over here is I just simply need to go back to layers, and then I need to add a layer. Like again, it's the same process that we followed previously on how to add layers. So I go back to add a layer. It opens the same whole thing. I again go to browse, and here I have my silage 2 file. So then I open my silage 2 file, and okay, it really didn't open right now because it's a zipped file. That's why KMZ, that Z is actually for zip. So what I do is I just click add, and it shows me this whole point. It's actually unzipping the file over here. It's Yeah, it's just unzipping the file in itself, so you don't need to have extra files within your system. It's just doing it all by itself. You select the point which you select whichever file you want to unzip, and then just click and add layers, and here we have our silage 2 layer. So I close this thing, and once you see that I actually have a single square over here right now, and that is my village 2. So I click on this and zoom to layers. Okay, it's really not doing anything much, but once I zoom in, you see that the box just keeps on shrinking. It's like it's not a very big thing to notice, but once I zoom out, it's a big thing to notice. And the reason for this is this box is actually just showing a single point on a screen. So thing is that size is not increasing, it's just in relative to rest of it is looking bigger or smaller. So it's just a point, so it's really not a thing that you can zoom into and check anything. You just know the coordinates right now. So now again, going back to Google Earth. So now let's say that even though like I have visited village 2, I have tracked the location of birds all around this path of the village. Like I have done nothing else and just observed birds all around the village, and I have done nothing else. So that's bird watching. So in bird watching, I have taken a path that goes around the village and doesn't enter the village at all. Yes. Okay, so now I need to show this path on my map, right? So how do I show that path on my map? Well, the simplest thing to do, like how to show this path on a map, is again go back to this top. You'll see actually there's a whole lot of options over here. You can actually check out these options one by one. But what we need for our purposes is this option right here. If you really zoom in over here, you will see that this has like three dots and a small line over here. Once we click that, that is actually a path function. like using this function you can create a path around the village. You can create a path not only around the village, across anywhere. So let me just create a simple path. Is I just tap it here, that's a single point. I again tap it here. Now this whole thing becomes a single path. Then again I tap it here, I tap it here, I tap it here, tap, 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 and just tap it here. So my path ends there, and really for a path there is not much closing because it's not a polygon shape, so you can just leave it like that. And let's see, I name this path as village to path. So again what it does, it is it just generates a lot of data sets whenever each point is developed, so that when I export this to QGIS, so QGIS knows exactly which all coordinates I have marked over here. So again I click OK, it saves it as a new file. I go there, right click, save place as, and yeah, so I save it as village to path itself. Shifting back to QGIS, again we go to layer, and then we add layer, add vector layer, and then here we have village 2 path. So again I open it up, nothing really opens, but once I add it, it shows me the, again because it is unzipping the file within the program itself. So again I do the click the thing that I want to add layers, and voila, I have a point. Like if you really zoom in right now, you will see that, okay, I zoomed in the wrong place, but yeah, once you zoom in, you see that there's a path that is exactly what I drew around the village. And if you actually see that this path now actually becomes bigger or smaller based on the size, because well, the path size cannot change, it'll alter a lot of data if the path size changes along with the zooming. So that's how you actually put up a path. And there are other things that you can put on also, like going back to Google Earth, there's a option called as polygon option. So again it's on this top right, top middle corner, you can say. I click that thing, and let's say I take village to polygon. How do I do that? Again, this cursor has changed. If you can see on the screen, the cursor has changed. And let's say I take it in village 2, and I want a whole polygon of this village, of village 2 that I've covered. So what I do is I just select point 1, point 2, point 3, point 4, point 5, point 6, point 7, point 8, point 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So now this whole polygon is closed. I have it as village to polygon. Again I can save it. Same, I can export it as save place as KMZ. Save it. Go back again. Go to layer. Add layer. Add vector layer. Browse. Browse it to village to polygon. Open. Add. Add layers. And then close. Okay, it is actually shown over here. I think I can change the color probably. Let me check. Huh. Why am I unable to see the polygon? I mean, the polygon is existing because if you just close the path here, you can see that the polygon is in black over here. So the polygon does exist. How do I fill it up now? Okay, so going back to Google itself. Yes, here. So, well, even in styles, there is not much. I can add a style. Can I? No, there is nothing over there. Copy layer, toggle editing, filter, change it as order, layer CRS. Okay, never changes CRS because it is again the coordinate system that they are using. So going back, How do I color this polygon? How do I fill color in this polygon? Okay, it's analyzing as a hollow green box because the symbology is currently set to a simple line or an outline only, other than while looking at the layer panel, I see a much bigger issue is the solid green block is likely covering everything else in GIS. The layer at the top of the list is drawn on top of the map. So right click and the layers and select properties, go to symbology, no symbols. Okay. Go to properties in symbology. Okay, default symbol is okay, simple fill. So let's try this. Okay, and I need to apply. So hopefully it's applied and okay, but it is still not showing. Okay, again back to properties. Okay, from what it is saying is single, no symbols, symbology tab. The paintbrush can change the drop down from no symbols or outline to simple fill. Is there anything? So I've got single symbol. Can I get it in blue? I think it is possible. And yes, it's worked. So you can see I filled this polygon over here right now. I think I can do the same thing for the path as well, hopefully. So I go to properties, symbology, embedded symbols, single symbol. It is default line is simple line. Let's change the color of this to something more contrasting. So okay, apply. Hopefully it's applying, but yeah, it has applied. As you can see, like it's a very thin line, so it might be hard to see, but we have two different colors here. So now we can actually map out the area. We can now, since we have polygon, we can literally just map out the area, even though like I'm not sure how we can do it yet, but we'll be trying if we can map out the area just digitally, because it's just much easier to do that than just physically measuring the whole thing. So we have added path, we have added place mark. Okay. So symbology. Okay. Now thing is, we have a map. Like we have this map of the state of Assam. We have the map of this. We need to know at least how to export it, because that's like the first thing. Whatever we have right now, it's a very basic map, but we still need to know how we should export it, because if we don't know how to export a map properly, then well, everything we are doing here is just useless. And if we don't know how to really export a map, so what we should do, like how we should export a map, and it's just not simple control P and you can just take screenshot. It really doesn't work like that, because a map needs to have specific elements in it. It needs to have the key for a map. It needs to have its direction. It needs to have its own scale. So to add those things in the map, now if we zoom out once, we really don't see anything of that stuff. We don't see a key, we don't see a scale, we don't see which direction is which. So what we do is we just go to project. We go to project and we open new print layout, which is actually just control P. So it's not simple control P, you have to do edits in within the print layout also. So it's control P over here. So let's try that once. So we so now I think the last part actually didn't get recorded. So again, going back to the thing. So what we can do now is we need to, you know, just open a print layout. Let me just close the previous one. So opening a print layout is just much simple. It's very easy. So we have got our village here. We just really need to put it, in uh, like we just need to show it on a print. Like we need to export this in a way. So how do we do that? It's not just simple. We just can't print it as a PDF and just show it, or we cannot just take a screenshot, because a map needs other things such as keys, such as the scale. It needs the direction, it needs various other things. So what we go is, we go to project and we go to new print layout, which simple, it's control P. So we click on that, and let's name it as Assam Village 2.1. So okay, and then it opens up a whole new print layout that we can see over here. So what we do is, we go to add items, and then we add map. And once we add map, we see that once we come inside the workstation, this is, by the way, the workstation where you'll be working your majority of the times. Like, this is where your map will actually, like, whatever you do on this white screen is what your map will become later on. So what we need to do is, we just need to drag like this, and voila, we have our map over here. Now, why did only this part come? Like, let's say, like, I want the whole map of Assam. Okay, let's say that like, I want this whole map, I just don't want that village. So I need to actually zoom out from here in QGIS, so that it reflects in the print layout. So can we, mm, let's just show it here. I delete it, and then again, okay, sorry, and then again I add item, add map, and once I drag it, it's taking a bit longer. And see, I can actually see the whole map. So this is exactly what I can see over here right now. So, but I just really don't need this much, so I'll just disable the other two layers, because it'll be easier for me to just work with a single layer as of now. So going back, I just need this layer right now. So what I do is, again, I'll just delete this whole thing and add item, add map, and I pull it up, and only the village is being shown. So now, obviously, this is up in your hands completely. You can actually modify the map within here itself. Okay, so simple thing how you do that is, you just shift to this logo over here. If you can see, there's this logo over here with 4 different arrows on 4 sides within the map. You click on that, and you can actually move the map within the print layout itself. Once you shift to the other one, like, with the cursor over here, you shift the whole picture of the map, more or less. So let's get back. So once we are in the print layout, we really need to see. Okay, now we need to add. Okay, we have item properties here. Can we scale it up? Yes, we can. So CRS, we are using project CRS over here. Yeah, we are using the, and keep this the same, or else, because if the CRS changes, the whole system changes completely. So just keep using the same CRS as your project is using. Do not change this. It needs to be, even though like default and your project is the same, just make it a use project CRS. It's really not much of a hassle. Just use your project CRS, it'll be much easier. So I've got my properties here, I've got my scale, I've got my map rotation. Oh, by the way, you can change your map rotation also. So I can make north south and south north in this way, but let's just keep it simple. Let's keep it 0. So okay, 0 means just north. That is the 0 degree. That is the arbitrary value that everyone has chosen. So that is 0. Okay, so keep that fixed, because that it'll just make your work easier later on. So we have got externals, we have got don't know, X minute, Y minute. I'm really not sure what these do, but we can check them out. Okay, we have guides. Let's see what it is saying here. Is the Okay, so now we need to go to this guide slides over here. No, grid. Where can I find grid? Okay, within item properties, once I go down, and here I have an option called as grid within the item properties. So let's open it, and using this grid we'll be adding other stuff such as a border around the map and everything. So CRS is used, map CRS internal. Okay, so within the grids, to make any kind of changes to the map, what we do is we add this. We have this plus sign over here. That is, if you can see, we have this plus sign that is going on. We click on the plus sign and it just adds grid. So, and then we go and modify grid. Yes, so now we have grid types. So let's change this grid type from solid to frame and annotations only. Use map CRS, interval is fit segment width. Instead of map units, make it as fit segment width. And then draw coordinates. How do I draw coordinates? Not fit segment width. I've got enable grid, map grid properties. Okay, I think this minimum is having problem. Let's make it 10. Zebra nautical. Okay, you can change the frame also, and this actually the scale that is measuring here is simply the scale. The grid should be coming, but I just don't know what mistake I'm making. Is there an apply button somewhere? No. So you can change the frame size and thickness from here. I think 2 millimeters is just fine. Frame thickness and everything is here. Left side, right side. Follow grid rotation. Why can't I see the grid? Oh, just keep it as solid. I think the solid works better. I don't know why they've had frame and annotation over here, because it just misses it. Or does it show anything when we zoom out? It really doesn't. So okay, so changing the grid type to solid, we see that there's a grid. We have a grid on top. Yeah, congratulations to us. We have a grid, and definitely we know the what the function of a grid is. Grid actually helps us scale whatever subject we are trying to study. It really gives us a sense of the size. Like, within the scale will be like it's 1 is to 10,000 kilometers. So like 1 centimeter on a world map will be 10,000 kilometers on the real world. So this grid actually helps us, well, do those calculations more easily. So it is using the normal map CRS, so it is a proper grid right now. It has its own scale. Minimum is 10 millimeter. Can I change it? I mean, I don't really see any changes. Fit segment width. If I change it to map units, millimeters, centimeters. Okay, it's changing with thing, but I really don't understand those changes right now. So I'll be delving deep into that, and I can actually change the line also, so I can change the color of the lines, but I don't think they'll really be seen. Yeah, but it doesn't really look good, so I'll be going back. Blend model is you really don't need to change those things because it's blend mode. You don't need your grids to be in fuchsia pink or something like it just looks simple right now. So we have got frame, wherein we have got the nautical frame right now, and nautical frame is more or less the scale of the whole thing. Like, it just tells you, it gives you a basic idea of the scale that is happening. Okay, draw coordinates. If I enable this, and you have the coordinates also. So once you draw the coordinates, it's like 25 degrees, 95 minutes. Not that whole coordinate system just drops down. This is a decimal coordinate system. You can change it from here. As you can see, we have got decimal with suffix, degree minute with suffix. I think degree minute should be fine. Yeah, that's more or less fine. Okay, the left one, let's change it to vertical ascending and right one to vertical descending, so that I save more space right now. Top and bottom is fine for me. Font is also okay. Follow grid rotation. No, I think that really works out. Keywords and then okay. This is fine. And then we have got add items, sidebar. Okay. Okay. So add item. Go back to add item again, and then we have add north arrow. So now we really need to know which is the north, right? Like, I have a printout, but then I don't know which is the north. So a simple thing to do is just drag again, and voila, you have the north arrow, and you can actually change the how the north arrow looks just by simply let's say, like, I want this arrow to be my north, and it shall be my north arrow. Similarly, it goes for the sidebars also. So let's see, add item. We have add 3D map, add picture, add label, dynamic text, legend, scale bar. That's scale bar. So we have the scale bar, and this is essentially adding the scale. So just go back, and there you have your scale. Map is map one, style is single box. I think double box would be better. Yep. Scale bar units. I think kilometers. Number format, customize method, segments. Okay, let's make it in meters because it just looks cleaner. I think this is better, and fixed with auto units. These are all just fixed things that you can have. You can change the height also, like you can make it bigger, smaller. It really doesn't matter much because it's a scale. You can just read the scale right now, and yep, that's your scale. And similarly, you can drag it out. You can change the scale again and again. And you can add the frame, as I told you can add the frame from within the grid system itself. You can just simply go in there and just say add frame, and you have your frame. Voila. And yeah, we have added the north arrow, and then now we need to show what we call as the index or the key of the whole system. So go back to add item, and then add label. So I add a label. Where's the label? Not sure. let's try to add the legend over here. Right now I think the legend is just easier to work with. Yeah, so we have the legend here, which is actually just saying what all are the things that are there, but more or less it's just showing all the things here. And since all the things are not here, I really need to remove some of them. So let's see. Now to remove them, it's again an easy process. We have a list of all of them right here. We select them, and then I think we just right click and remove. Does it work? Or we just simply only show items inside linked maps, and it just vanishes. The rest of it just vanishes. We have just two things there. We have got the village path and village to polygon, and that's more or less it. So now we need to export this map. Okay, now to export this map, I think we go to layout and then just type in a save project. Probably, if it did work. No, save project, it just saves the whole project that is in its current state right now. So what we do is we just go and export as image. Go in there, and then I've got my QGIS project, and we have got extensions. We have got a lot of extensions. So what I'll do is I'll save it in JPEG format, and I just type in save. Export resolution. If you really want high resolution, I think 1200 DPI should do the trick. Page width, and just DPI is more or less the higher the DPI. First of all, there's a big load on the laptop, so I'm just trying it out once. Is higher the DPI and more is the resolution, more or less. So that's all. And then I'll just do open file after exporting, and I'll just save the file. It's actually going to take a lot of. Oh, it did it quite fast. So here I have it. It's a very simple map that we have generated. We have got the legend over here. We have got the coordinates over here. We have got coordinates. We have got legends. We have got the whole village, and then we have got the scale. So more or less we have everything that we need in the map, and that was just the basics of how you can just map out your own paths. You can map out anything that you have ever traveled on. You want to make out the area, you want to make out what all the places you have visited. So just a very simple thing to do is you just go to Google Earth and follow this process. Now then, I think we should wrap it here for today, because that is more or less all the basic things that you can have for making any kind of map. We have seen like what are different layers, how to get those different layers, and I think those were some of the more advanced stuff than what we have seen today. So though right now this is just a very basic level. You saw how to make a path, you saw how to pin a location, you saw how to have a polygon in your map. So you just have learned the basics right now. So now that we have learned the basics, I think we'll conclude this session over here right now, and we'll be continuing with more advanced stuff later on. And I'll actually I'll have to research on how to get into more advanced stuff, because whatever I did in my workshop was advanced, but then I really need to have some more idea about some things. So I'll have to research about those too. So concluding this session over here, and thank you all for watching, and follow for the next part.